What's up, banana bunch? Bunch? Bunch?
Welcome to the Junglejims podcast. What's up, Banana Bunch? You know what time it is. It's time for a new episode of the Junglejims podcast. I'm your host, Mark. I tried to say another and not just new. I don't know what I'm doing here. Welcome to the show. I did a whole different intro. This is actually the third time I've shot the intro this week. And hopefully this one has no technical errors because one lost the audio, one, the video was short. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I've just been here too long. The equipment is starting to tell me. We're hot into the middle of Jungle's 50th anniversary here at Fairfield. How cool is that? And I'm bringing it up because we've got like metro buses out around the city that you can see that are wrapped in our logos. And then, of course, you know, you've seen it because Lucky and I, and really mostly Lucky, built the Junglejims Lego set that we are doing some giveaways of. To answer your questions before you ask, no, we're not selling them. I think that's really the only question. But if that changes, you know we'll announce it. But it's a very cool set. But you can, however, win one. So I'd encourage you to go to junglejims.com/50. You can either use the numbers or spell it directly out. And enter to win that contest. We started doing some internal giveaways because we're giving away to some to our employees as well. And then we'll start the public one soon. So you'll start hearing about that probably in the next couple weeks, which should be very exciting. And that's just the start of the 50th celebration. I'm holding these bag of chips because I was cleaning up the set. We found these yesterday in here. It's a limited flavor from Cape Cod chips. And if you're an occasional chip enjoyer, I'll put those just out of frame. If you're an occasional chip enjoyer, this is a limited edition malt vinegar chip. And I love their kettle chips already. And the malt vinegar one's crazy. Like, Lucky's much thinner than I am. And the two of us have put a pretty intense hurting on this bag in the last 24 hours. So if you're in the store, we have them on sale this week. They're only like, it's like two bags for $6, which is really cheap for Cape Cod chips. But that flavor goes so crazy. If you like the salt and vinegar thing at all, I'd highly recommend this one. I think it just tastes better. Now that I've talked enough about that, it's a serious episode this week. I always love doing these. I love a little human interest piece. So I got in touch with a gentleman whose name is also Mark, and he's helping me break the no other marks on the show rule. And he was talking to me. We talked for a little while. It was a kind of a funny part of year because I was like, well, I don't know if I even told you all on the podcast, but I went over to Europe to shoot some TV shows, movies, that kind of stuff. And as of the time of this recording, I don't think my NDA was broken yet, but maybe. I think we're allowed to start telling people what's up, but I'll wait till next episode just to be safe. Anyway, while we were over there, we kept trying to get back and forth, and you know how it goes, and I'm all over the place anyway, so it was hard to get the schedule. I'm really, really, really glad that we did get the schedule because Mark would tell me a very just touching is maybe not the right one, but I also don't want to say like heartbreaking, but it is heartbreaking. A very just difficult and sad story. Sad was the word I was really trying to avoid, but I do think this is important, so I get to learn things about like, you've heard the expression FODMAP, for example. And early in the show's run, we did a lot of coverage of food allergens because I thought that was important. We have a very large allergen-free section here, gluten-free, all that kind of stuff. You know, and I did that episode with Hungry Harry's, who they make baking products for people that have food allergies. But just hearing Mark's story, it was sad and hard to, I won't spoil a lot of it, but just imagine the struggles of somebody who has intense food allergies from almost everything you love. I mean, like everything. And then when you start thinking about how much, especially in American culture, how often we eat out and we're kind of at the mercy of everyone else, and not just in regards to what are they just putting in there, right? I'll spoil this. At some point, we talk about like garlic, onion, that kind of stuff, the allium family being in food. And that's like in everything, especially everything processed. It's all over the place. It's like a cheap, easy way to get some flavor into things, right? Imagine now that that's reduced like 90% of the available food to you. And then it just keeps getting worse and worse and smaller in there. And just hearing about this. So Mark also brought in one of my other favorite people, Justin Dean from Carriage House Farms and Lost Bridge Beverage Company. And I know I said a bunch on the show, Justin, but get me some of that damn root beer into Junglejims. He's working on it, but I love to give him a hard time about it because it's really, really good. And every time I'm over there, I find myself drinking a frustrating amount of it. But anyway, they are ultimately working on an event for people to open to the public. I'm waiting on an updated date and timeline for this. And when that is up, I'll post something on social about it, and I'll update the show notes here for you. But they're working on doing like effectively a dinner out for people who struggle like this. And I think it's just a really cool thing. When I heard that anecdote about them just, and just kind of putting into perspective of like, wow, you can't even go out to dinner. And to me, I'm like, that's like one of the few luxury things I have left in my own life, right? Where I'm like, oh, that's like because you have to eat to continue living. It's like, oh, I can schedule that in. So thinking about how I'd like lose so much of my socializing and so many other things and how it could affect people so adversely, I thought the story was really worth telling. So on that, let me just jump right over to Justin and Mark and let's dive into this. All right, everyone, it's time to do this. Justin, I'm actually surprised we're doing this now. I'm sorry that we didn't do it earlier because I think that was how we kind of actually got connected early on. But Justin, why don't you introduce yourself and tell me, what are you doing in my office?
Oh, I have no idea what I'm doing here, but my name's Justin Dean. I'm the co-owner of Lost Bridge Beverage Company at Carriage House Farms in North Bend, Ohio. I am learning to distill alcoholic beverage products now.
Cool.
I've played chef my entire life, and this is kind of a new hat I'm wearing. And we have fun and we do cool shit.
Yeah, all the time too. We were just talking about the Whispering Beard Festival, talking about maybe a mayonnaise raft down the river there.
Yes, we're looking for Duke's raft and a nice little float.
I think it'd be good.
And maybe some Duke's mayonnaise slices, some American cheese.
I'm hoping that comes together.
Burger.
Yes. That honestly sounds super delicious. Looking forward to it. And this will just be me publicly. I know I've DM'd you this a lot over the last year, but I'm gonna need those. I'm gonna need some of those Lost Bridge beverages in the store sooner than later. So
I'm talking to a co-packer now about possibly putting the root beer in a can. So we'll see.
Amazing.
And then I'm also kind of playing around with maybe a root beer and bourbon in a can.
Oh, that would probably go insane. People would go nuts for that.
Yeah. Kentucky bourbon and root beer. I mean, they pair well together.
Yeah.
I mean, it's we've had the root beer on tap ever since we opened, and that is everybody's go-to if they want to put an alcohol in the root beer.
Sure.
And it plays really nice.
Yeah, I'm such an idiot. Last time I'm just like, no, I'll just have 4 pints of this and drive home.
Well, it gives just 4 pints of root beer.
I know, right? This time, I'll be back for the pickling event. Well, and then I also want to introduce Mark. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm glad we finally got this on the record.
Yes.
Same thing as Justin. Who are you and why are you in my office?
All right, my name is Mark Dirksing. Essentially, I am here because about 5 years ago, I became sick with a chronic disease. At the time, we didn't know what it was. It all started really 10 years ago. I had 2 heart attacks in November of 2013. We didn't know at that point that was related to my illness. Mm-hmm. We've discovered through this process. So essentially what happened is 5 years ago, every time I ate, I started getting sick. My blood pressure would rise. I would start sweating and I would get really sick to my stomach. I went to the doctor. We decided that we needed to get my gallbladder taken out. We didn't know that was the worst thing for me. Once the gallbladder was removed, all of those underlying conditions were set free.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
Yeah, so I have IBS, mast cell activation syndrome, dysautonomia, and there's maybe 6 or 7 total. Many of them I can't pronounce.
Sure.
But most of them do affect my gastrointestinal system. So I have had to recreate food. I am no longer able to eat gluten, lactose, onion, garlic, high fructose corn syrup, tomatoes, most fruits, most vegetables, the list goes on and on. I haven't eaten at a restaurant in 6 years. So it was either roll over and give up or figure this out. I've been in the restaurant business and had pretty much every position before I became a teacher. So I just went to work in the kitchen and started figuring things out. And so now I'm here to try and share those recipes. I have a cooking channel on YouTube called Unrestricted Flavor. And then I also have a Facebook group under the same name, just to offer support to other people that are dealing with gastrointestinal problems or just chronic disease in general. I talk a lot about therapy. I've lost a lot through this process. I've lost a career. I've lost my family. I've lost a lot of family and friends because people just don't understand what it's like to live with chronic disease. And there's something called chronic disease exhaustion. We all remember COVID exhaustion.
Right.
It's difficult to live with somebody with a chronic disease. They expect you to get better and get back to normal, and that's never going to happen. So
Right.
it just becomes a real problem.
What is something like in the chronic illness space? Like, what is something that you wish could be more effectively communicated with people that have not experienced that, and don't struggle with it internally?
Yeah, so a lot of so essentially just that it's chronic, that I'm in conversations with many other people that have chronic disease, and one of the hardest things is people just don't understand. They don't understand. There's something called spoon theory out there, and essentially everybody has about 12 spoons to start a day.
Sure.
And we exhaust those spoons before lunch most days,
Sure.
but we still have to carry on. And so a good example is, like, let's say when you get up in the morning, you may exhaust one spoon between waking up and getting to your car. Well, getting a shower for a lot of people that have illnesses like mine is difficult because heat can affect you, temperature
Sure.
can affect you,
Yeah.
and it's just pure exhaustion at times. Especially when it's food related. Every day, I mean, food is my enemy. It makes me sick. Even with my diet, I still get sick quite often. If I would go off the medicines, I would be violently ill again. So it's a grind. Understanding and empathy is really the biggest struggle because people, I describe it as simply as this. Everybody in the world is running a race, and I can only walk, and sometimes I can only sit. And so if you imagine people going by you, lapping you, it gets really frustrating.
Oh, sure.
Life continues. I was anchored to my toilet for years.
Yeah.
I struggled to get to work. I struggled to get out. I struggled to be there for my kids. And it's difficult.
Oh, I can't even imagine just going through that like constantly.
Yes.
And something as necessary as food is in life. You know what I mean? I know we joked kind of briefly about this out, before the show about how, eating out is like one of the only joys I get out of existing, right? Yeah. And it's something that's been stripped away from you. And it's like, in thinking about this, there's obviously like all these emotional things, but I just kept thinking the whole time while you were telling your story is like, how socially damaging this can be for people and how that's got to be one of the hardest parts that maybe doesn't get expressed often enough, that it's like, you have to have this like support system built around you.
I mean, it blows my mind because this is the reason that I started cooking.
Really?
I mean, when I went to high school, when in high school at Mason County, I had 2 credits that I needed to graduate. So I had 6 periods that were empty.
Yeah.
So I decided to fill those periods with home ec, where the girls were, and a study hall. And so
Genius.
I spent half my day cooking. I spent half my day cooking in home ec. And back then it was a lot different. So I had keys to my teacher's car. I could take her car. I had a credit card and cash from school. They would give me money to buy groceries with.
Sure.
And I just cooked. And as I was cooking and taking stuff around to teachers and principals and stuff like that, the joy that you bring by handing somebody food and then sitting there and having a conversation while you're enjoying that food.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what brought me into this business. And then when I met Mark, and then Mark's like, I haven't eaten out in 6 years. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like, to me, it's like the biggest joy is, you know what I mean, getting some friends together, family together, whoever that is, sitting down, cooking a meal, and everybody enjoying it together. I mean, that's what it's all about.
I agree.
And to get that stripped away from you, it's just, I mean, it's mind-boggling. And that's where I think the whole empathy thing comes in.
Yeah.
Is that, you know what I mean, put yourself in that situation.
Right.
Yeah, I stopped getting asked out, and essentially, and I kind of understand it. So many times in the early part of this disease, I had to say no. Like, I didn't know what my days were going to be like, so I oftentimes broke plans. And then when I started feeling better and had to break plans, people didn't understand. Okay, so why are you at work feeling good today, and then you're missing a week of work? And because again, it's chronic. It's never going away, and stress impacts it. What I eat impacts it. Weather impacts it. Sometimes smells impact it, and it's difficult. And then the other thing is when doctors can't explain it to me, and I have one of the best, Dr. Jonathan Bernstein with the Bernstein Allergy Group is one of the best doctors in the region for mast cells. He's got grants. He's doing lots of research, and it's. When he can't explain everything completely, how am I supposed to explain that to a boss or a friend or a new acquaintance? It's just very difficult.
It's like there's like a form of volatility in there one way or another. And that's something that, it's, again, I'm sure I can't even express how frustrating that must be to constantly be navigating, not just for yourself, but then in regards to everyone else who's just kind of like, I don't
mean,
totally
it affects
get it.
everything that you do.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, from the time you wake up and take a shower, and I mean, stuff that all of us every single morning take for granted.
Right.
I mean,
you
get up and grab a cup of coffee and you get your shit together and you get to work and you do what you have to do that day and you move on. But I mean, when, every single thing can affect every single thing. I mean,
and that's one of the, so in my videos, I haven't done this one yet, but I will talk about how do you vacation this way.
Sure.
I struggle with it for years, and a lot of times I just had to not go. We didn't do vacations, or I essentially have to bring all of my food. So 2 weeks before vacation, I'm in the kitchen cooking my chicken nuggets and all these other things that I can freeze and take with me, and I have a giant cooler. Flying is almost impossible for me because airlines are not very good about keeping food frozen and being able to travel with that.
Right.
So I have to make sure where I go has a grocery store that has items that I can eat. Last year I went to Colorado with my parents and my daughter, and we got to Estes Park, and there was a shortage of food because there were fires surrounding Estes Park.
Oh, right, yeah.
When I got to Estes Park, they had nothing I could eat.
Oh my gosh.
I had to go without food for that day and then the next day until we could get to Netherland to get to their grocery store. And so those are just the things that you don't expect and you always have to plan for.
Right.
I did a Disney vacation with this disease. I will never do it again because it was way too difficult, too hot. But I survived. But it's something that we have to think about all the time. It isn't, when I wake up, I have to plan, even just to go to work, I have to plan my bathroom time. I have to plan my medications. I have to pack and make sure I have 2 meals that I can eat. And then when we're at work, I have to make sure that I time my medicines. Even if we're busy, I still have to make sure that I hit those times. So, I mean, it's constantly, it's tough. And I understand why people give up or stay in their house. And that's one thing that I'm trying to show is that there is life after chronic disease. It takes a lot of self-control.
Sure.
If I mess up, I'm violently ill. And I know that's the same for a lot of people. You eventually get to a point where I don't like feeling this way, so I don't want to mess up anymore. And so you just gain that self-control. I've lost 120 pounds since I got sick. And the funny thing is I'm thankful for my disease. It's changed me in ways I couldn't imagine. I am happy with who I've become. My cholesterol is better than it's ever been in my life because of the diet. And I'm overcoming things every day, and it gives you a sense of self-confidence and just kind of some power behind yourself. And if you can continue to get up and fight, you'll start getting more and more of your life back, and then things will start getting better. And hopefully, with again speaking to your doctors and things like that, you can get out again.
A lot of transparency. A lot of it sounds like just preparation goes into this huge, and honestly knowing your own limits, I guess, really, right? Yes. The Disney trip does sound insane. I bet that was anything.
I refuse to go to Disney, and I'm perfectly healthy.
I only want to go if I want to fight with my family.
Yeah, we had one of those. Yes, we did that. Oh, God.
What was something that really drove you nuts there? Out of curiosity, I'm sorry to go there, but
honestly, so one of the reasons I can't ever go back is at the time they had they had a disability pass. So people with disabilities, you would call ahead of time and you tell them your disability, and then they had a way that you didn't have to stand in lines. Well, they did away with that. There's no way I can't stand 2 hours in lines without getting sick and that heat. And so,
for sure.
That was one of the heat itself was unbearable. There's just very little shade. And then there are no food options for us.
I figured as much. I was going to say, it was like everything's probably highly
all these
processed.
Characters walking around bothering you.
Yeah, exactly. Everything looks like a wide angle lens.
Constantly playing.
And they did try. Like I give it to Disney. Every restaurant they talked to me and tried to, but every time I got to no onion and garlic, they're like, "Yep, we can't do that."
Right, because and it shows up in some. Well, we were talking about before with the herd thing. It shows up in everything. So it's like I can't imagine this struggle every day. Well, and actually, let me ask this again since we said it off camera, but I think it's a good bit. What has been one of your, because I feel like out of everything you've mentioned, not that those wouldn't be difficult, but obviously it seems like the whole onion, garlic, allium family thing that seems like the most. Or maybe the largest hurdle to overcome with regards to food, since it shows up and everything. What have you been using as replacements in that regard?
So with a low FODMAP diet, and that's what I am on, chives are okay for IBS.
Okay.
So what I've actually found that I enjoy the lighter flavor of onions than having all of that onion and garlic. My mom, I believe, has this, but she's old and just like, it is what it is at this point.
Right.
But whenever she eats
classic parents, they're like, it's fine. I'm like, is it? I think it's fixable still a little bit.
I keep telling her, I take medicine that make this easier, but
we can at least round the edges off. You know what I mean? Hey, play me this clip in 30 years if I act like an asshole ever.
I'll remind you.
Please.
I'll remind you.
Yeah, so, but yeah, onion and garlic get her every time she goes out. And I keep saying, just stop eating it. But, you're set in your ways. And it's difficult to give up. It's in everything. And it's hard to cook without it. I mean, especially when you're cooking for other people. They expect it. That flavor is always there.
Right.
Chives have been great. Garlic's been a little bit more difficult. I know some people can tolerate soaking garlic cloves in oil and just letting that flavor sit.
Oh, get it that way. Okay.
I know FODMAP makes one. It's a brand that is low FODMAP foods.
Oh, okay.
So they make one. I haven't been able to try it because, again, it's a week of hell if I
I can't imagine all right, do I roll the dice on this flavor? You know what I mean? I don't even know.
How do you even cook like that?
I don't know. I'm sitting here just going cool. So nothing I
just
like.
Think.
Yeah.
Just like if I decide to eat this, I may spend the next week shitting my brains out.
Exactly. It's crazy.
Or throwing up or not feeling good.
Ejecting one way or another. Yeah, exactly. Or the dreaded shoot.
God.
Yeah. That's awful. I can't even imagine it.
Yeah, when I was at my worst, I'd wake up and have you ever seen what's the movie Navarre Lady Hawk?
Oh, okay.
You know the moment when Navarre and Michelle Pfeiffer's character, it's that moment of sunrise and sunrise, and they are able to connect and see each other. That was the moment I had every morning where I'd wake up and that pain was gone for about 5 seconds, and then all of a sudden, the abdominal pain would start, and I had about 2 minutes to get to the bathroom, and it was coming out both ends.
Right.
And it would last between 2 to almost 6-7 hours. So I was still doing this in the afternoon.
Right.
And it was exhausting. When I had fundoplication surgery to fix the chronic GERD that I had, when they were in, they found out that I had a hiatal hernia, and I shredded my diaphragm from vomiting so much.
Yeah.
So I had to go in and repair all that.
Shit.
It was difficult. Again, people didn't understand. I was always swollen. My salivary glands would blow up like golf balls. It was hell. And so getting past that, and I know there's so many people still in that stage. And that's one thing I want to make sure that they hear is be an advocate for yourself. If your doctor says that they can't do anymore, go find another.
Right.
My first doctor I saw told me that I had lesions in my intestines and that there was nothing that I could do. I just had to deal with it.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Right.
He told me, see me again in 6 months. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to see you again.
Right.
And so I moved on, and I've been through about 6 or 7 doctors. I went to the Cleveland Clinic and spent a week up there. I've had every test under the sun. And Yeah, I mean, I'm in a good place now, and that's where I feel like I have to pay it forward. I've been able, and this is one thing we talked about before we went here. Junglejims was huge for me. When I walked in here for the first time after I got sick, after spending weeks in other grocery stores, it was like walking into Disney World for the first time. It was eye-opening. I had all these other cultures that I could choose from that actually use rice flour or don't use gluten and Mediterranean recipes. And so my imagination just went wild, and that's why I love it here. All the ideas that come to me, and that's one thing I love about food is I still watch cooking shows. I still love Triple D on Food Network because they give me ideas. I know I'll never be able to eat anything on those shows, but they give me ideas that maybe I can turn something that they did into something that people like me can eat. And so like last night, I was just fooling around with food. I loved jalapeno poppers, but I can't eat them. But I made sweet pepper poppers. Okay. And so I used lactose-free cheese and all the ingredients that I can eat, and it tasted great.
That's awesome.
So
yeah, I love hearing it. I'm glad that we can provide that. You know, early on, I had a guest on, a lady that had done this whole allergy-free baking line, and she was like, we're going to do like the top, I think 15 free. But anyway, it really, you know, it was all things that I knew existed and people struggled with, but it was kind of cool to actually meet the people behind the brands and also to just learn that there's like, I'm sure that if we were having this conversation in 2013, right, the food availability would be completely different. Yeah. You know, I mean, you're seeing so much of that, and it's fun to me to go to see where our allergen-free section is now in natural foods and be like, wow, even in just the couple of years I've been here, this has expanded pretty, to me at least, dramatically, you know, in a space that, again, I don't think people think about as often. I think that's sort of the human thing, right? Is that I'm not experiencing this, so it's not in the front of my brain. It's in there, but I'm not until you are faced with somebody that is struggling with it, you know?
And gluten-free became trendy. And so
that was a wild thing to see. I still don't understand when you're like, I mean, I get it, obviously, if you are genuinely struggling, but I felt like it was one of those movements where I was just like, do people think they're losing weight with this? Like, what's the idea behind this, you know?
Yeah.
So strange. Mark, one thing I wanted to ask you, because I know you said this and I've read it before, and I imagine some of the audience might also be doing the same thing where we're like, yeah, I've heard that. I know it means a problem. What's FODMAP?
Okay, so FODMAP is an acronym. Essentially, if it is high FODMAP, it is difficult to digest.
Okay.
If it is low FODMAP, it is easier to digest. And so my goal is to be as low to no FODMAP as possible. When you have, and so it's difficult to explain. So I have a neurological disease, that's the dysautonomia, and that's interrupting just the processes. My stomach isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing because there's a miscommunication.
Okay, that makes sense,
brain.
yeah.
And then I have the mast cell, which is essentially, and it's difficult to explain, but the way I kind of understand is that these mast cells are kind of attacking food like it's a virus.
Okay.
And so with the two together, it's just created havoc. And so that with the IBS and post-cholecystectomy syndrome for not having a gallbladder, it's just been a perfect storm.
I'm sorry. Did you sue the fuck out of them, by the way? That was like my first thought when you said that. I was like, oh my gosh. They're like, oh, by the way, we really did need that. You know what I mean? We were 50-50. I'm sorry to make any light of it, but like when you said that, I was just like, what?
When I found out, what I found out is that there is actually a drug. So a lot of doctors just immediately pull it because it's a useless organ. Well, it's not.
Right.
For some people, it's not.
It's there for a reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's in your body. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't printed it out yet.
So there's a medicine that can reduce the sludge, but it doesn't give the doctor money.
Oh, well, of course.
So the surgery.
I love this part. This is my kind of podcast now.
Yes. And so I don't want to say the doctor's name, obviously, but I also found out that because I don't want to even reveal the gender, were transitioning to plastic surgery. So I don't really think that I had her best day.
Yeah, for sure. Like that was like them having a bit of a day off. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Yeah. Like, oh, well, my heart's not fully in this anymore. And you're like, but that kind of thing.
I wish my appointment was yesterday.
I know. I wish my appointment was about a week ago or so.
I'm not even supposed to be here today. Like came in on their day off.
I mean, isn't that when they they ask you like 15 times, like when I had knee surgery, they like, red highlighter, and then they asked me like 6 times. I would have been like, doctor, do I really need this gone?
Yeah,
Are you sure I need this gone?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Are you sure? Sure.
We're going to vet them through the same processes going forward. I'm like, did you also fast for the previous 24 hours? Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, now it's my next reality show though. Is one patient, one doctor, both on camera for 24 hours.
I hope she had a nice vacation in the Caribbean.
Yeah, for real, right? Yeah, exactly. A little ting and rum.
Sorry, Mark.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I think about that stuff all the time. And how lucky I got in my own medical journey. I'm like, for the most part, I've had a pretty good experience, but I definitely see it happen. So it's like so many other things in life. I was like, I'm not saying the bad things aren't there. I'm saying I personally haven't run into them. I just watch them affect everybody I love. You know what I mean? I'm like, what do you do? You know?
Yeah. And I mean, it's, you know what I mean? And I've always been the chef that, you know what I mean? If I'm cooking you $150 Wagyu filet, and you want it well done with A1 and ketchup on the side. Yeah. If I got A1, if I got ketchup, I can cook your steak well done.
Yeah.
And I'll give it to you
because I can ruin that for you.
That's what makes you happy. Yeah. No, seriously. Sure. Honestly, it's who am I to tell you what to like?
Right. That's a great point,
you know, and that's what I've always never been offended when somebody didn't like something that I cooked.
Yeah.
Because, you know what I mean, I can't please everybody.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
And you're following, you're executing your vision, you know? Some people will love it.
I'll make myself happy.
You know,
I like to eat it, so I'm going to make it. And hopefully you like it. And I'm sorry if you didn't, you know what I mean? But, right. You know what I mean? It's the experience. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like I worked with Ashbourne Farms outside of Louisville, Kentucky. And a great friend of mine, Patrick Roney, was the chef there. He and Ryan. But we would do massive functions. You know what I mean? $250,000 weddings.
Yeah. Crazy.
I mean, crazy. I
bet.
12-course meals for 150 people with Tyler Childers playing live.
That's amazing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And we would do multi-course meals. And if we had a 12-course meal, we would adapt the meal to every single allergy that we knew of. So if we had 100 people sign up, we had gluten, lactose-free, vegan, vegetarian. Yeah. We would literally have 5 menus.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's awesome, though.
Because you're paying for an experience.
Right.
And if I'm charging you for an experience, I should be able to give you the full experience.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's like you going to the movies and somebody kicking you out after the credits because, you know what I mean, you can't take this.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, so the chef, Patrick, and his team would go above and beyond to take the time and create, and we would literally have separate areas of the kitchen. You know what I mean? If it was a gluten-free or if it was especially any allergy. Yeah. Especially nuts. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it's like complete separate. Yeah.
I mean, chef was, it was, I saw him send a $3,000 order back to a distributor.
That's amazing.
$3,000 order that we needed.
Yeah.
That we needed because this distributor will break cases and do small amounts of stuff. Mm-hmm. So they will use these crates. And it's funny because all the chefs that I know are going to know exactly who I'm talking about, even saying their name. But it's mind-blowing to me because, you know what I mean? If you have a severe nut allergy and as a chef, I place an order and I need 3 bunches of cilantro, 2 things of green onions, a pound of almonds and a pound of peanuts. You know what I mean? I'm not going to buy 50 pounds of peanuts and 50 pounds of almonds. You know what I mean? And this company is awesome because they'll break cases for you. Yeah. So they're nice enough to break the cases. They'll put them into a plastic bag. They put a zip tie on it. And then they throw it into a green bin with my cheese, my olive oil, my package of latex gloves that I ordered, you know what I mean? A thing of saran wrap, you know what I mean? So now everything in that green bin is now contaminated.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And God forbid somebody doesn't check the order in that knows what's going on.
Right.
And you know what I mean? If the chef's not here yet and the porter sides it and then puts everything away and then it's in its proper place when chef walks in, chef has no idea that the gloves and the olive oil and the salt are tainted because they were in the same bin as a bag of peanuts or almonds. And now you've got somebody that is hopefully, if you solve it with an EpiPen.
Yeah.
I mean, if not, you can have an ambulance or a death on your hands. And I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I
Not
mean?
at all.
And that is why I think that it's the biggest struggle about people even, I mean, I'm not going to go out to eat because there's a 99% chance I'm going to get sick.
For sure. Yeah. That's
You know what I
awful
mean?
too.
And,
yeah.
and for chefs that don't take that seriously, it's just mind blowing to me. You know what I mean? It's just because, you know what I mean? You're a chef. It's your fucking job.
Right. Yeah. Simply
It's your
put.
job.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Seriously. You know what I mean? If you don't want it to be your job, put a sign on the front door.
Yeah.
And I've seen it. You know what I mean? I've seen it. You know what I mean? We don't do allergies.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're going to be that guy, be that guy. But
Yeah,
I mean, be
lean into
upfront
it, yeah.
about it. You know what I mean? And
that way, at least people know. So that way, it is a thing where I think one of the things I'm taking away from this already is just that, like, the empathy will hopefully drive the educational side of it, where it is little things like that, where it's like to prevent it always being such an intense gamble, right? That you're like, hey, look, I know when I go eat your food, I know you thought about this and paid attention to all of these things that matter. You know, well,
and Mark and I've been talking through, because I mean, he's doing this dinner out at the farm in October for people that have similar issues that Mark has.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And he asked me if he could do it. And I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. I'm like, because as a chef and getting into being a chef for the reasons I did, and to think that we're going to have a group of people out at the farm that haven't eaten with a group of other people in years. In years, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My biggest joy, these people have not been able to experience in years, you know what I mean? And to me, that's huge, you know what I mean? And if I can help in the smallest way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're like, please.
I'm a chef. I've done it all. You
Sure.
know what I mean? I'm 54 years old. I've cooked since I was 16.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in this business a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if I don't know my shit by now, I shouldn't be doing it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And,
that's the sign you have on your
yeah, and I mean, and yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? But I mean, I find it cool what Mark is doing and the experimentation and the creativity that it takes. And you know what I mean? He's his worst critic.
Yeah.
Sure. And he's always going to be his worst critic. And that's the greatest thing about it, is that, you know what I mean? It's always striving to do a little bit better and trying to do a little bit more. And, you know what I mean? I think that it's very admirable that he's doing this to help other people.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Because like you said, I mean, a lot of these people just crawl up and fucking die.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, how much fun is that?
No, it's awful. And and like, I'm sure we've all had someone in our lives, if this is not completely recognizable, but enough of a recognizable situation where you're like, you just watch them become like kind of a hermit over time, and not for any, not because they wanted to, but because it's like, I don't know, it's just something you have to, unfortunately,
They don't have the
deal with.
balls to do what Mark has done.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely see that too,
You know what I
which
mean?
is to get up every day. We joke in my personal life all the time. We call it ma'am, which is motion against masochism. Why can I not talk? Motion against masochism. And it all started based out of one of our friends who had a really intense bout of like just depression, struggled throughout like a lot of their 20s. Yeah. So we would just do things where we're like, we're just going to go out. It doesn't matter really what the end goal is here, but we're just going to like get in the car. We'll find something. It could be something as dumb as just walking through jungle gyms, something where there's a bit of an experiential angle to it, but it was enough that it was like, we started seeing these improvements in our friends who were struggling with these things, who were otherwise just going to sit at home. And I always joked about going in and be like, okay, he's been here a few days. There's a couple packs of cigarettes in the living room. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and so seeing that, so I think it is incredibly admirable what you're doing. And I also love, Justin, I know we've known each other for a while, but I think this is the first time we've really spoken at length. But I really love hearing your passion for it, because I do really respond to the idea of bringing joy. To me, food is an art form, right? And you are executing a vision. You have a different, a unique medium, but it is this social experience as well. And I think it's cool that you all are creating an event like that. I can imagine this ending up being a bit of a dinner club thing for all of you, because I imagine people want the experience, they miss that experience. Look at how,
Mark, could you imagine being an artist and somebody giving you a fucking pencil?
No,
seriously,
but I'm
seriously.
Yeah.
I mean that is one of the best. I mean,
we talked
you have
about-
a full palette.
Right.
You have a full palette, every
Exactly.
color. You got coloring pencils, you got crayons,
Exactly.
you got paint. You got all this. But guess what? I'm going to give you a fucking pencil.
That's it. And you can only
This is
use
it.
that.
Yeah. And that's where these people are.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because if you take, it's like, I can walk in here to Junglejims, and honestly, I could eat anything in this place.
Yeah.
And it's probably not going to do anything to me.
Right. Same.
And 95% of what's in this store is going to make them sick.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's mind blowing.
Yeah, it's
awful. And I think that's where the empathy comes in.
Yeah.
You tell somebody the story and they don't think about it in the depth that they need to.
Yeah.
People take for granted the everyday things. One person I'm talking to on my Facebook group says the same thing. Like you see people just do things naturally and take it for granted. Just being able to get up and eat breakfast. I don't think I've eaten breakfast in years just because my stomach can't tolerate food until early afternoon.
Sure.
So it's just, it's all those things. One of the things, what I'm so thankful about with Justin and Richard and the Lost Bridge is that we talked about this one day is I love going to concerts. So a few of my friends have realized that, okay, you can't go to restaurants. So let's get them out and do other things. So live music has become my social event. That's what I do. I meet people. That's my only place to do it. The only other thing I really do is hike, and that's a little creepy to walk up to somebody and say, hey. Let's be friends out here in the middle of nowhere.
My van's just down the hill.
Good call.
Yeah.
Good call, Mark.
It's white. So don't worry about that.
Stick with the music, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
It was funny on Christmas Eve. I was going for a walk in Shawnee Lookout, and there's this cute woman that walked by, and I'm thinking, hey, here's an opportunity. And then I thought about it. I'm like, no, she's just going to scream and run. Let's just keep going, say hi, and keep going. So Merry Christmas, keep walking.
Exactly. That's funny.
No, but one thing Justin and I talked about at work a couple weeks ago is I think about, and this is one thing that Justin and Richard are giving me is that think about being a musician and you can't play on stage for an audience. You can't. Yeah. And so I love doing the cooking show, but I don't get the smiles of seeing people eat my food.
Right.
And so they're giving me this opportunity to actually serve my food and what every cook wants to do is see the smile produced based on
send the joy out through your art. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. The musician analogy is a good one too. Yeah. Cause it's like, well, look what happened to all the creatives during something like COVID, right? Where they were just like, all right, so we're going to try stand up over Zoom. I'm like, no, that's a terrible idea. I'm glad that you all tried it. Yeah. There was no world where I was like, this barely works for normal conversations, let alone one where I'm waiting for good timing, Yeah. So ridiculous. I know we've been doing this for a while, but I figured you did bring out some products.
Yes,
I wanted you to talk me through some of the stuff you got.
Okay, so one of the first visits to Jungle Gym, I haven't been able to eat many desserts because of gluten and other things, and honestly, I just never really tried. So when I came into Jungle Gyms, the creativity started flowing, and so I found this is basically a summer ice cream cake. It's very simple to do. And the other reason why I did this is because of my GERD, I'm no longer able to have soda. When I found out I couldn't drink beer, I switched to craft soda because I like variety.
Yeah.
And so when I found out I couldn't have the soda, it was quite depressing. But I didn't give up. I decided, okay, how can I get those soda flavors into food that I might be able to eat? So I have to find the cane sugar sodas. But once I do, what I do is take 6 of these donuts and I lay it at the bottom of, and these are gluten-free.
And this is that Katz's brand, right?
Okay. Katz's brand, gluten-free donuts. I lay them on a baking sheet or baking tray, I guess. And I go ahead and pour the soda over the donuts, and I let the donuts absorb the soda. Then I'll take some lactose-free ice cream, and I will cover that crust with the ice cream.
Cool.
And then I will put some Jell-O pudding on top, and then I'll refreeze it, and I cut it into little frozen ice cream bars, and it's truly delicious.
It sounds delicious. Yeah.
Now, one thing I do have to say, because I found this out the hard way, not all Jell-O puddings are gluten-free.
Okay.
The cheesecake version has barley in it, so just be careful.
Okay, got it.
But other than that, they are.
I think one of the biggest points I'm also taking away from this is that people should be way more invested in what they are, or at least, you know what I'm saying, invested in paying attention to the things that they are eating. It's kind of like the doctor thing about being your biggest, self-advocate. where it's like it sucks. I hate that you have to do it, but you're like,
well, the
more preparation,
Yeah, the first gluten-free bread I found, I thought was doing okay for me, and it wasn't. I didn't realize that they had apple juice concentrate. So I just went and looked through. Oh, it's gluten-free. I'm good to eat it. And then I was still getting sick, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I found, and so the sugar in apples are high FODMAP, so they really impact our stomachs.
Fiber.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
So what do you use instead of milk when you're making the pudding?
So Lactaid makes a lactose-free milk. And so essentially, the way I understand it is they put, so there is still lactose in it, but they also put like the
anti-lactose in it?
Yeah, basically the antidote for the lactose in there.
Wow.
And so
Just
it
enough to
kills
like bounce it out.
Yeah.
It's like all those drinks where they were just like, there's sugar in it, but if we put enough fiber in it, I can put the keto label on the outside.
So answer me this question, Mark. I mean, because this just, as a chef, this interests me. So you can't have onions or garlic.
Right.
And you can't have apples.
Right.
Okay. So I'm sitting here looking at genuine Hank's Naturals caramel apple soda that you use in your recipe. So my guess is, and I don't even have to turn the bottle around, they're using a natural apple flavor and a natural caramel flavor.
Yes.
So obviously those flavors do not affect you.
Right. So actually, Junglejims has a section of basically flavored oils, and I use them all the time in cakes. So like I can't eat pineapple, but I still love the taste of pineapple.
Sure.
So I've made a pineapple upside down pudding cake with a little cinnamon. And so
why can't you use onion and garlic natural flavoring?
So it's very possible, but again, I'm too afraid. And that's so essentially through therapy and working with my therapist, I probably could. I know.
I mean, I would be very surprised if you couldn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of what you're eating now has natural flavor added to it.
Now, the ones that are savory, natural flavorings always say that onion and garlic are in those. So like the powdered versions, I know I can't have.
Yeah. I totally. But I mean, so none of this has any. This doesn't have any natural flavors in it. Looking at the Katz's cinnamon donuts.
And so there are, I'm sure, still some ingredients that make me slightly sick. But at this point, like I just go with what I can.
It's almost like the Lactaid thing. You're like, how much of this am I willing to tolerate if I balance it out to a certain extent?
And that's
but I mean, it's interesting when you start looking at, I mean, what you can, because, from me being a chef, the only way to break this down for me is to look at everything that you can eat, even if it's a quote unquote processed food.
Right. That's what I was kind of like thinking to myself. I was like, it's funny that the processed ones go okay, and some of the actual.
Literally, I would have a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
I would have started a spreadsheet and have just all ingredients because, you start to look at even something as insignificant as xanthan gum.
Yeah. You're like, that's showing up in a lot of things. Yeah.
Sunflower lecithin.
Right.
You're eating these donuts, so hey, you can eat sunflower lecithin. So now you can start, being
branching from that,
proactive and breaking stuff down and saying, look, I know I can eat 9 out of 10 of these ingredients. You know what I mean? Am I willing to do that week?
Yeah.
I know.
Today's episode sponsored by.
That's actually something
Charmin.
I've been working towards getting away from processed foods altogether. When I first hit, I was relying on products that were already out there.
Sure.
Now I am trying to do a lot of things just natural and trying to figure it because I wasn't.
And having
much
your
of a
food
big-
background, I think, obviously helps a lot because I imagine for a lot of people, they're going to be like, "Yeah, no, I'm just going to still buy the cats."
Yeah. Honestly, I eat rather healthy or somewhat healthy, and I've educated. I want to say that I've educated myself over the years, and if you start looking at America and the health of Americans, the whole downfall started after World War II.
Yeah,
everybody, and now we Americans have went so far as to we're making Europeans less healthy.
Oh yeah,
right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like Yum Brands. I mean, Yum Brands is everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
KFC, and I mean, so I mean, now you have these Asian cultures and Mediterranean cultures, you know what I mean, where these kids have grown up with fast food.
Yep.
And you can start to see the detriment that's happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, if you start looking at the American and how the Americans started to be unhealthy, you know what I mean?
Right.
You never heard of gluten allergies when
No.
people were actually
growing
eating off the land.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? None of this stuff started until processed food came in, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Now I got to bleach and bromate my flour and do everything else. I mean, I have to
Yeah.
completely and totally molest my flour before it goes into a bag.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that's where a lot of these allergies have come from. You know
sure.
what I mean? It's you know what I mean? You flip the human body upside down in a matter of, you know what I mean, 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
I always hear anecdotes of people going overseas and they're like, "Oh, I have a really bad gluten allergy, but when I go to Italy, I can eat it there." That's weird. Why is that? And I imagine that. I read something the other day, and I didn't get a chance to read the entire article. It's like in my 1,000 open tabs on my desktop, but it was something about how they were also talking about like the end of like fortifying and enriching foods that didn't originally weren't carriers. They were like, I think that may have been another big problem, where it was like the idea behind it was good, right? It was like a well-meaning, what's the old expression though? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. But it was like, yeah, we kind of just like ruined bread this way. You know, for example, it's like such a staple thing that when now I see little things like, you know, well, thanks to the internet, you're seeing this stuff where it's like, I bought this bag of bread in 2007 and it's still in my kitchen fine, but you know what I mean? But I baked bread and it was bad in a day and a half. What's going on, you know?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, and I mean, I mean, people have gotten to the point where they demand cheap food and they demand convenience.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's,
We broke the culture in general.
Yeah.
And I think it's like we're always just, I always just view it like putting a Band-Aid on like a breached dam, where I'm like, well, that's kind of helpful. But what if we looked at what why is the dam overworked in the first place? Let's back up a few steps, you know?
Yeah. I mean, but people, but unfortunately, most people don't give a shit.
Right. No,
And especially the people that are running the government and that are in charge of all this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's, you know what I mean? What we have allowed big food to do since World War II is just disgusting.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, honestly, it's fucking disgusting. And all it's done is it's made a bunch of people extremely wealthy, and it's made a whole lot more people extremely unhealthy.
And I think the food impacts our mental health as well.
for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
You know, you always heard as a kid, you are what you eat. But I mean, that is like genuinely true.
I mean, literally, we had this guy at the bar the other night. We had music, and they're, I'm not gonna say they're regulars. I mean, they come on. I've seen them there quite a few times.
Yeah.
Quite a few times.
They have a few punches on the stand, you know.
Dude was here from like 5:30 until the music was out at 9.
Mm-hmm.
I think he drank like 16 Diet Cokes.
Oh yeah,
I'm not exaggerating. I am not exaggerating.
That's crazy.
Dude almost drank a 24-pack of Diet Coke in like 3 or 4 hours. Not even a day.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. I mean,
and what was he drinking the rest of the day?
that was it.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
But I mean, literally. I mean, his wife was imbibing. She had a couple glasses of wine and a cocktail, and I mean, dude was crushing her like 4-1 on Diet Cokes.
That's insane.
I mean, I served him more than any customer that night.
I bet.
Repeat customer coming back up to the bar. You know what I mean? And that can't be healthy.
No.
He was actually there all day because I served him all morning.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he
So
really
all
was.
day
Yeah,
is just
he-
ribbon
he-
day.
he went
That's
through so
crazy
much.
to me. That's like so crazy to me.
I mean, dude, I very seldom restock diet during a shift.
Yeah. Well, you're in there breaking 12
I'm
packs.
like, what the hell is going on? Hey, we're out of Diet Coke, guys. I mean,
Again,
we went through 2 weeks worth of Diet Coke in one night.
crazy.
Yeah. I mean, and that's and people think that's normal.
Yeah.
People think that's okay.
Yeah.
because it's diet.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Of course. Yeah.
You know,
Different
you mean-
chemicals.
I mean, myself as a chef going to the grocery store and seeing what people throw into their cart and take home to their family
Yeah.
is just I mean, it's like, how many people send their kids to school with Lunchables?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, seriously. Seriously.
Look, I was very lucky in that my parents were anti all of that. Like, not, don't get me wrong, like, not too, it wasn't like I never had any of these things, but like pretty restricted, right?
Yeah.
And so it's been funny as I've gotten older too, especially working here, you know, where I had when I fell last year and they're doing like, you know, it had been a little while since my last checkup, like, and I remember they were doing like blood pressure, all the tests that they would just do randomly. And they're kind of like, they keep doing the And I'm like, you know, I'm in my early 40s now. So I'm sitting there going like, is that a bad, Yeah. Like, what are we looking at here? And it was like kind of funny, but she's like reading my blood pressure. She's like 118 over. She's like, let me do that again, kind of a thing. And then she's like, you just fell down a flight of stairs. So you should also be elevated. And she's like, your blood pressure is kind of good. I was like, I know I look this way. And I understand that there's clearly, it's an input output situation for me. But it was very funny because I kept thinking about how my diet has even changed. I was always a pretty relatively clean eater. But just being here, the quality of food I have access to now compared to a lot of the big box retailers, you know, I'm sitting there like, I'm only eating the weird Amish chicken with none of the shit in it, you know? And I'm like, okay, little thing, and it's funny how even just little shifts like that, when I buy a treat and I want some chocolate or I want like ice cream, I'm not usually buying American made ones anymore. I'm usually buying like gelatos or European chocolates. And it's funny how I'm like, my diet hasn't necessarily like improved in a big picture sense, but it's like the small portions of it haven't changed in a way that like you go to the doctor and they're like, you're kind of healthy.
Every branch of my family tree connects to heart disease.
Really?
Every single branch. And my numbers are off the chart good.
Hell yeah.
Literally, I mean, my doctor sent me to a heart specialist just because of my background.
Yeah.
He goes, I want you to get all this stuff checked out.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, first thing that happens, I get laughed at when I walk in because, you know, I mean, I'm like 40 years younger than the next youngest person in there. And everybody has a Ziploc full of medicine sitting next to them in a chair. And they're literally looking at me like, why in the hell are you here? And I was like, talk to my doctor. I mean, if you guys have the referral, I'm like, I'm just here.
Just cash the check. Let's go.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And literally my blood panel came back and I got a call from my doctor's office. They said, we think there's something wrong. Can you come back in there and give more blood? We want to run your numbers again. My numbers were so good. They literally thought they were wrong.
They were like, this can't be right.
But I've got 3 freezers in my basement. And every single piece of protein that are in those 3 freezers, I know the farmer that raised them.
That's cool.
Or I killed and processed it myself.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know exactly what is going into the food that I feed my family.
Yeah.
That's because, I mean, I give a shit. You know what I mean? I care enough to care. You know what I mean? And I mean, I have a 90-10 rule or an 80-20, depending on the day. You know what I mean? 90 or
80% Diet Coke.
So 80 to 90% of the time, I try to do the right thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Am I not going to go to McDonald's? Yeah, I'm going to go to McDonald's. You know what I mean? Sure. I love McDonald's French fries extremely hot.
Yeah,
you know
they're awesome.
I'm sorry. You know what I mean? But there has to be moderation. And I think that is the biggest thing with a lot of people is that they have pushed it and there is no moderation. Yeah, and then you start looking at the flip side of it with somebody like Mark. And I mean, it's just like fucking polar opposites.
Yeah.
It's just like, where do you go? What do you do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's admirable that he's done what he's doing.
Yeah.
And you know, the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm the kind of person, I mean, if you can help one person,
why not
feel better?
Exactly.
Why not?
Yeah. Right.
Why not? You know what I mean? There's just too much negativity in the world right now, especially that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why make somebody's days worse when you can make it a little bit better?
Oh, for sure. Even a 1% move in the right direction. I think this is something I struggle with when I have these conversations with people is that I'm very much on that side, right? And I'm a doer, so I'm like, let's go. Motion against masochism, right? Yeah. It works on me too. What is it? I'm not just the president. I'm also a customer or whatever. No, but in thinking about that, a lot of people don't see the value in a small improvement, I think. Yeah. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if that is kind of like, at times I sit around just going like, is it a big food thing? You know, it's like all of these like big kind of corporate, I think, entities kind of play into that a little bit. And so then you have these moments where you're just, I don't know, stuck in it. I get so lost in the thoughts, but yeah, I imagine though that people see like such a small shift in behavioral things as being too minor to not be worth it. And I'm of the other opinion, and I think this is something maybe you'll agree, because this is what I see what you're doing is like 1% today could be the thing that opens like this little pathway to 2% in the future to, and you're in, you know, especially in your experience, it's like all of these things are dramatically affecting you at all time. I imagine you know the value of 1% better.
And that's one of the things I try to show is small victories.
Yeah.
When you cannot look at an end goal, when you can't even get up out of bed, like
Sure.
you just can't. So yeah, I just wrote a piece about it the other day on my page. Is just giving yourself the ability to award yourself for small things, and being proud of yourself. That's one thing that I was kicked down so much from my own body, and then when you're kicked down by other outside forces because they don't understand.
Sure.
You are all you have left.
Yeah.
And you do have to rely on it. So those small victories are what built me back up. And if I didn't have them and if I didn't recognize them, I wouldn't have made it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing. I mean, like you said, there's a lot of negativity in the world right now. And you also mentioned the self-advocacy, but you kind of have to. You don't kind of have to. I'm sorry. I'll get on my soapbox. Like you literally, that is the only way through. Yeah. And I know it's tough to hear that. I'm look directly in the camera when I said this. It's sometimes tough to hear that, but sometimes you have to support yourself through the worst things that you'll ever experience because other people might not understand at first, at least, you know?
Yeah. No, I tell you, like,
And then a lot of people are going to understand, but they're not going to have the empathy that they should.
Yeah. They'll be like, oh, that sucks for you. And instead of having that moment of like, what would I do in this situation? How would I feel? How would I want people to care for me in this situation? You know?
Yeah. And that's what this is about, is trying to bring those people together so that they can see that they're not alone.
Yeah.
That there are other people that have some success. Like that's another thing. Like I know I've been through hell and back, but the fact that I've reached some level of success through my self-control and through fighting to find other ways to live, it's made everything much better. It's made my life livable again.
Yeah.
I've been able to find a new family in the Lost Bridge. After my divorce, I gave up. Like I was ready to toss in the towel. But I'm glad I didn't, because there are other good people out there that are willing to help you, to hear your story, and to pick you up, lift you up, find ways that you can do that. When Justin told me that I could cook for people, it made my...
I'm sure.
I mean, I went home and cried. Like it was an opportunity I never thought I would get.
And now look at this. Speaking of, so it's coming up in October, right?
Mm-hmm.
When?
We
give me all
don't
the
have a
details.
date
Okay, no, but loose October.
We're waiting on his doctor's out of town, so I want his doctor to be there.
They're too cool.
Yeah, I mean, because
that's awesome.
You know, I mean, we want.
That's a great idea.
I want him to have a menu.
Yeah,
and I want the menu to have ingredients.
Sure.
So everyone that is going to sign up for this dinner knows ahead of time exactly what's in each dish, because everybody's not different. Right. You know what I mean? And then that way, you know what I mean, everybody that shows up is going to have a very enjoyable meal.
That's so cool, though.
You know, and I mean, like I said, you know what I mean?
And then
he hasn't been out to eat in 6 years.
I haven't been out to eat in 6 hours and I'm already trembling.
Exactly.
You know, I'm like, wait, what are we doing?
It's like, what am I? Yeah, it's.
You know what I miss most?
What's that?
Taco Bell.
Oh, man.
It's sad. I know it's sad.
No, that's not sad. Taco Bell. I bring this up often on the show. I think that might be in the next episode that airs before this one comes out. It's not authentic. It's not necessarily what I would call highbrow, but it is good.
Yes, it is.
It is. That's my 20 in the 80-20. I'm like, yeah, let's talk about it.
Taco Bell is dead. They took the Mexi melt off.
Oh yeah. Well, they're they're
dead to me.
I totally get it. I hate when they're one of the most annoying brands in that. I love that they provide a lot of customization to their customers. They were, I think, one of the first places that were like for vegetarians and vegans that were able to easily get meal at fast food. I was like, that's a great thing.
Even their ground beef is vegetarian.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say, it was like, it's just oats. It's
like
fine.
90%
Honestly,
TVP.
Honestly,
10% beef,
I'm not
90%
mad.
vegetable protein.
Yeah, right. And the rest is just like powdered, God knows what.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Good,
it does. It's good. It hits, especially at certain times of day.
Oh yeah. And the fire sauce.
Yeah. Oh my God. The fire. And why is the discussion I keep having is like, why are some of those sauces so good? Yeah. You know, and they're like chemically orchestrated to be delicious. Anyway, I'm sorry to like just rub it in. Like,
No, you're fine.
I don't know, but I imagine that would be one of those things where, again, something I take for granted is the ability to be like, it's 2 a.m. I can go get a taco right now, and the only thing stopping me is my unwillingness to walk downstairs. You know what I mean? Like it's like silly. But and then I think about like, what if I couldn't do that? You know, and like how would.
So I went to a concert last Wednesday in Dayton. On the way back, the buddy I went with wanted Taco Bell. So I drove him there, and he just loaded. I think he may have spent $30 on Taco Bell.
Yeah. Well, now the Taco Bell's expensive too.
Yeah,
You're like, a soft taco is $6. Like, what? I used to be able to feed a family of 4 for that here. You know.
Yeah, but they're trying to keep people at the taqueria down the street.
But yeah, driving home, watching them eat that. I mean, it was fine. Like that's the other thing. I don't want people to give up what they can do because I'm around. But yeah, I mean it.
No, but it is a thing.
Back memories.
Dude, seriously, man, that's like smoking in the car with a non-smoker.
Yeah, exactly.
Asshole.
Yeah, and you're like, it's fine. Crack your window a little bit. Oh my God! Are you struggling with this?
I hope you wake up shitting your brains out. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that.
I put laxatives in the cigarettes beforehand because I had a feeling this was going to go down. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy, guys! This has been a beautiful episode. I really, Mark, I really appreciate. Oh my gosh, of course, I'm glad we got to actually get to. One of my favorite things about the show is that I get to meet people that I kind of casually knew in a much better way through this. So I'm glad we got to do that, Justin and Mark. Honestly, thank you so much for coming in and sharing the story.
Can I say one more thing? Then?
You can say whatever you'd like.
So one thing, if you are going through this, one thing I do recommend is family therapy.
Yeah.
One of the things that I realized, so my family, I'm going through a divorce and it's kind of ugly, but one thing that I realized is that I was grieving my past self that was never going to come back, and they were fighting to bring back the past self. Right. And our communication was off. And I think had we spent more time in family therapy discussing this and dealing with it, I almost see it like many people that experience a death in their family end up splitting up, marriages split up. And I see it the same way. In my therapy for the first years, it was always about grieving everything, grieving the loss of food, grieving the loss of activity, grieving the loss of myself. And so I was grieving and they were fighting to get me back. And so I think that's what happens a lot when families stop communicating or when this kind of stuff happens with chronic illness. It's they're going in different directions, and it's very difficult. If you don't have that help to kind of balance, like just talk you guys through it, it can lead to bad things. So like I just really like therapy, make sure that you're talking to people, especially if you don't have a support group. Just making sure that you take care of yourself ultimately.
Yeah. Got to be your biggest supporter.
Yes,
exactly.
That's good advice for anybody.
Yeah.
But especially in a situation where you're struggling.
Yeah.
You know.
100%.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. And then once you all know a date too, let me know, and I'll update the video. If who knows, by the time this airs, maybe you'll have it too, and I can just put it in my intro and outro of the episode too. But if not, whatever, we'll keep it out there. So this is a cool thing. I think you all should check this out. I mean, either way, you got to go down to the farm, no matter what. It's worth it. Yes. I'm the 14 Diet Cokes guy, but it's with your root beer, dude. Seriously, that day though, I was like, it was one of those things where I'm always with the tank of water, and I remember vividly getting out there and being like, oh shit, I drank this water way too fast. This is going to be annoying all day long. I'm just going to be peeing all day. And then you're like, oh, you got to try the soda. And I'm like, oh, it's delicious. And then I'm like, the first one went down real fast. And I'm like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. Okay, I'll wait over here a little while. And then I'll get a second one. I think I hit 3 before I left, but was like floating out. So anyway, the real point is, how in the hell is that guy drinking 14 Diet Cokes in like 3 hours? I was there for like 3 hours. I was 3 in and I was just like, I feel a little weird, you know?
So if anybody wants to drink large amounts of Diet Coke or homemade root beer, come on out to Lost Bridge.
I heard ginger ale, right? Was that that's true? Okay.
Ginger ale's a new.
I didn't want to spoil the other ones, but I am excited to find out how those go too.
Yeah, and like I said, my obsession with Tang, I'm down that grapefruit soda rabbit hole.
I literally can't wait to find that one out. So, oh man, a dream. Yeah. One day I would love, if you'd be cool with this, I'd love to like walk through that process, because as friendly as Pepsi is with me, I don't think they'll let me know how they make the product. Would that ever be a thing? Okay. Yeah. Doesn't have to be like shot.
I'll give you my secrets.
I'm just curious. I just want to see it. Yeah,
I'll give you my secrets.
Sounds good. I mean, it'll work out to something in the future. We'll do like a root beer float truck or something. So awesome. Well, Justin, thanks again, man.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it. And
Mark,
of course. Yeah, thank you so much.
Is there?
What was the name of their Facebook group so people could join?
So Unrestricted Flavor is the name of the Facebook group and the YouTube channel. Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for joining me on the show today, Mark, Justin. Glad you guys came out. Thanks for telling your story, Mark. It was again, it's sad, but I do think it's worth talking about. And everyone, follow Mark along on his journey on YouTube as well, please. I think that would be great. Well, in the meantime, I know I keep promising this. I have a lot of episodes in the can right now. We just did one with the Yellow Springs Film Festival recently. That was really fun. And that'll be coming up. See, what happens is I tape all these episodes in advance, right? And then things will come up that are a little more timely, like the Yellow Springs Film Festival is like a set date. So I want to make sure I get all that out in advance. And so, for example, if you are remotely interested, I think I just saw on social like today or yesterday, they've already sold out of the full weekend badges. We can still buy individual tickets. So if you are remotely interested in film festivals, and they're killing it, like opening nights hosted by Kevin Nealon from Saturday Night Live. He's been in a ton of movies. I mean, I'm sure you all saw him recently in Happy Gilmore 2. What was I going to say? He's doing that. Kevin Smith is there presenting Dogma for the first time in like 25 years. They're doing a whole evening tribute to Rod Serling. I mean, there's a lot of really cool stuff going on. So you can buy individual tickets still. Go to ysfilmfest.org or is it .com? Oh my gosh, I feel bad for not remembering at the moment. How about this? Search Yellow Springs Film Festival and you'll get it. I'll have it updated for his episode. But you might want to look into that. That's probably what I'm going to air next. I still have the Soda Seekers and Team Supernova episode. Don't think I forgot you boys. But since that's just a loose, fun episode, that'll go when we don't have something pressing going in here. I want to make this happen like this episode that you just watched and all that good stuff. That's one of the hardest parts of my job is scheduling things and be like, okay, this is a good time for this now. It's a good time for this now. Well, on that note, thank you all so much as always for watching the show. I appreciate your support. And in the meantime, I'll see you out there in the aisles.
The Jungle Gyms podcast is recorded in the WJJI studio inside Jungle Gyms International Market in Fairfield, Ohio. The Jungle Gyms podcast is produced and hosted by Mark Borison.